are there any kind of wellness or skincare trends that you're very excited about that they're emerging?
I'll say what I'm doing now, which is really has been a game changer for me, injecting myself at home with peptides. Yeah. I do think it's cold plunge.
Yeah.
I've done cold plunge. I would do it again, but for me, I think it's so shocking and so disruptive.
First of all, Liz, welcome to Biohacking Beauty podcast.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here.
Yeah, I feel like we had a pre-podcast.
Yes, we did.
We did.
As we usually do.
Okay. I want to start. What I'm interested in personally is kind of, and I'm known to not to ask like journey questions, but it's pretty interesting. How does one go from kind of being in front of the camera and being someone who explains beauty or trends in front of the camera to being interested in biohacking and kind of, being a proponent of kind of beauty and biohacking that does much more than just like cover other people's trends?
Beauty and biohacking for me has always been more than just products and science. It's your consciousness. It's how you're moving through your day, how you're eating, how you're speaking. And it's really a 360 approach. Everything I do isn't just physical and external aesthetics, it's also internal. Because in order to truly biohack and to truly age well, I hate the word anti-aging. I think it's horrible. In order to age well, it's a accumulation of many things. And all the physical aspects of biohacking to me is just the cherry on top.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I think the physical, for the most part, is trying to take advantage of a state that already happens in the body. Like if your body is out of focus, out of alignment, it would be very difficult to. Most strategies would actually cause harm rather than good. Like if you're trying to push your mitochondria when it's malfunctioning, you're probably going to get worse results. And we see that with people going to hyperbarics when they're not ready and things like that.
Yeah, it's really, it's a 360 approach, and people are also biohacking without drawing their blood, seeing what's even appropriate for them, or they're doing all the biohacking things externally, but their consciousness is low.
Yeah.
The way they speak, the way they present themselves in the world and how they interact with other people, that frequency is low. So you can do all the biohacking things you want, but if it's not 360, you're not really doing it right.
So, from like watching a lot of your content online, you talk a lot about magnetism and like being magnetic self and how that kind of helps you to project beauty as well. And so how does really the two kind of, define each other, feed off of each other, being magnetic and being beautiful? How it, what is it to you?
I realized when I had first moved to LA, I was doing a lot of TV work. Steve Harvey, Access E! News, as the beauty educator, if you will. And what I realized through the process was we were all talking about products and how they work and how to maximize efficacy and how to get rid of wrinkles or how to dye your hair. And I love all the science behind all that. But the most heartbreaking thing for me was being on the Steve Harvey show and giving all these women makeovers. But what was really happening backstage was healing. Because externally, we ended up giving them what they wanted, but internally, they were felt damaged still, which just goes to show that so many women are doing the right things externally, but they're not taking care of themselves at a soul level. And when you're starting to do the soul work, the tikkun olam and all the corrections that come in this lifetime, they go hand in hand. So for me, I always thought, okay, what is the disease and what's the cure? To a 360 approach to beauty. Here's how to deal with consciousness daily, and here's how to elevate physically. You cannot have one without the other, and being magnetic is having all of it.
It sounds to me like every Buddhist type story, even like Kung Fu Panda. He comes to this little turtle, and he's like, "Oh, I want to know to whatever, right?" And the turtle's telling him, "Oh, that's not really like if you want to be Kung Fu Panda for that matter. I should have chosen a better. Anyway, but you need to go through this long path of which is significantly more than learning how to kick or to punch. You need to,
Correct.
embody now 360. Yeah. That actually, yeah, it's something that that it's an ancient wisdom that we now need to always kind of reteach, because people are always gravitated towards a simple fix, something that can turn around on a dime. We're not good at like cumulative changes.
Correct. And what is external beauty? What is aesthetics when the person inside is broken or full of fear, regret, shame? It's the classic story of walking into the room and there's a supermodel there, but you know that she's not confident. She feels shut down. She's in the corner, versus the other woman who is so proud of herself and is taking care of herself at a 3-level approach: mind, body, spirit. There's a significant difference, because people can lie, but energy never lies. So as incredible as biohacking is, and the advantages are next level, what would also happen if we biohacked our consciousness?
Yeah.
It's incredibly powerful to have the both. And when you do have the both, you can do anything you want.
Yeah, and it really makes me think about the fact that, I think since most of our listeners are women, a lot of women will agree with me. Sometimes, you didn't have time to do your hair, and you maybe didn't do your makeup at all, and you barely put your skincare, but you're in a good mood. You're like singing, and I don't know, everything goes your way, and you're just so proud of yourself, or you kind of like, you're just in a good mood. And then people keep giving you compliments, even if you don't feel like your most beautiful self. But I think it really, as you say, like when you're in a great state, you sort of like induce that what's called physiologically autofluorescence. So you actually glow. You have that skin glow that people, just are so drawn to compliment, and it just feeds off of it. It's you get a compliment and you feel even better. And like you said, it's very little to do with external. Not to say that we shouldn't do the external
External is
part.
very important.
Yeah.
Very important, but not one without the other.
Yeah. So with that, I have like a small question. I know that you were saying that, traditional skincare is just not cutting it. And you are doing a lot of, you're blending, this 3-part approach, right? So our listeners always are looking for like actionable advice. And since we don't have the time for everything, that
Correct.
you do, if you were to pinpoint like one habit that you think it's this internal kind of habit or practice that you do for yourself, but really shows up on your skin, you kind of like always see the correlation. If you do that, your skin looks better. Is there something like that you could talk about?
Yes, when it comes to taking care of myself physically, the gym always gives me that glow and makes me stronger physically and mentally. And you cannot live without an SPF. There's no point in doing anything if you're not using sunscreen, especially with the way our ozone layer is broken down. SPF is critical. People always say, oh, you don't need SPF. The sun's natural. SPF has so many chemicals. 1 out of 3 Americans have skin cancer. And the ozone has changed. So you do have to protect yourself from environmental damage. And that environmental damage does something to us on a cellular level. Most people don't even know that physically putting your hands or feet on the ground recharges your neurons. That's why grounding is really beneficial, not just for women, but for children and for men, because you're actually gaining more positive energy. And all these things are things that we've kind of lost over time. And people always say, like, what are you doing every day? What's your routine? How do you eat? How do you do this? And I'm like, listen, I'm a modern woman. I work, I have a child, I have a social life. I don't really abide by the whole meditate for an hour, do self-care for an hour, cook for an hour. Like, we are modern. We have to find what I call pockets of peace. I speak to the universe in my car. If I can go to the gym, I do a free YouTube workout. I make 5 to 10 minutes throughout my day, so it doesn't feel time consuming and suffocating. It works into my schedule.
Do you think, but Anastasia asked you about the one thing that you do. Most of what I think 99% of what we're talking about in this podcast pertains to an action that then you go and do on your own. And I think a missing part of beauty alongside a lot of other wellness endeavors, is the idea of a belonging to a group or doing something as part of
community.
as a community.
Yes.
Is that something that you feel a modern person also needs to go and seek, because it becomes harder and harder to do?
Absolutely. The importance of community, especially for women. Women need other women. I mean, we used to live in very tribal times where all women helped and elevated one another. And quite often I hear, well, men are more successful. This is just the case. And I'm like, well, no, men know how to help each other and they know how to use one another. Women, if they were able to do that as well, help each other, elevate one another, share each other's stories, they'd realize that they're not alone. B, they'd have better routines, physically, mentally, and they'd have the community to rely on when it comes to family and children. And that's part of what I do. I love to create communities of women who are always looking to evolve physically, mentally, spiritually, because otherwise, what's the point?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's the point? You need community.
I mean, honestly, for me, in my postpartum journey, I wouldn't be able to make it without women that showed up for me. And it was so interesting because there are certain women that, like, I've known them. They were my, I would say, distant friends that I see a couple times a year, not even every month. And it's when I gave birth, they were there. Like, they were there, like, every day with advice, like, on standby, and had so many questions. And as foreigners, sometimes we don't have family here in the United States. So
It's very isolating.
like, and now these are the women that are my closest friends, because it's like, you know, the way they just really showed up. And it's not, unfortunately, not everybody has that. So It's so
Correct.
great that you put women like this together. And, you know, with social media, everyone can have a community online, but it's so different when you see people in person.
Human connection. AI could never replace human connection.
And I heard, I don't know if you heard that women talking to each other, like that practice, you know, right now, what's going really viral on Instagram is like nervous system regulation and how can you moderate your cortisol. So actually women talking to each other is one of the most efficient like cortisol leveling practices, probably for us better than this Navy SEAL naps, you know, when they put the feet on the wall.
Yeah.
It might be better. Like there are actually studies now about this, and it's so crazy because it's like could be so accessible but becomes so not accessible, like so little of us have.
That's why I do the events and seminars that I do, because what comes out of it, quite often you see a woman coming in alone, her shoulders are shrugged, she feels really down and out, and by the time she leaves, she feels like a completely different person. Something that I do, I workshop people a lot, and something that I love to do is I'll pick a woman in the crowd and I'll ask her what's missing in your life that you feel is missing. Love, money, business, whatever it is. She'll respond and say, you know, I really want a family. I want my career to level up. And I'll kind of look at her and look a little confused. And I'll say to her, oh, that's interesting. I actually don't really see that for you. And one of two things happens. She either looks at me like I'm crazy, is like, no, that's for me. Or she says, yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe it isn't. And then I make everyone stop for a second. You see what just happened. I'm a stranger, and this woman who's never met me allowed me to tell her what's appropriate for her. But she was just very confident about what she wanted. And this happens to women throughout our lives. We know we have that intuition of what we desire, and what we desire exists because you can't desire something that doesn't exist for you. And then we're allowing people that we don't even know to alter our decisions. So when it comes to biohacking, half of it is consciousness.
Yeah. I love it. And I think, you know, talking about consciousness, meditation, however you want to engage with this, my biggest lesson from meditation is that the practice is not, you know, being in some Zen mode where you can observe every thought and, you know, and be in a kind of a no mind state. No, the actual practice is when you get out of it and your mind is racing and you're catching it and are able to kind of get into a better state. So it's almost like reps in the gym.
Correct.
and equating it to what you are saying about about structure, about going to a seminar, about having some sort of guidance is extremely important, because the more you're trying to take on, we're talking about beauty, the more the more complex routine you're trying to do, and you are a mother, and you have a career, and you want to go to the gym, and you want to inject your peptides every day, and you want to take your supplements, you are going to slip. You're not going to be on it the entire time. And if you are, you're probably going to mentally slip, because that's a lot to take. And if you don't have other people who are going on the same journey with you, and they are in a different phase of that journey. Someone just picked themselves up. Maybe you just picked yourself up. You see someone that just slipped. That's coming, and that you're going to have to pick yourself up.
Correct.
I think that is the not the most important, because, as you said, cortisol. There are many important facets, but that's an important facet of having a like-minded community, if you will.
Yeah, and to have that support to lean on one another. Why do Americans struggle so much compared to other countries when it comes to depression? They lack community, and they lack that support. And obviously, I love men. I think men are incredible. I was married to one, but I really love this space, because when women realize that they're not alone in their thoughts, magic happens. And that's when the biohacking really happens, because it's the rewiring of the brain heart system. And when you can do that, and then you're using great skincare, and then you're using everything on top, everything becomes magical, and every moment is an opportunity to experience a miracle. If you think that you can see miracles all the time, you will see miracles all the time. If you think you can't, and you're isolated, you have no community, you have no one to rely on, that's what you're going to receive.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think not every community, but a lot of the successful communities in the United States, or a lot of the successful stereotype for a person in the United States, could be traced back to some underlying habit of connecting to a community, which then, we see it a lot in the Jewish community. You see it a lot in the Jewish community, where someone is going to go to a synagogue or to some Jewish gathering, and is going to basically kind of plug themselves into what other people are doing right now that's successful for them, or how they can kind of get assistance in their journey. And I am 100% positive it doesn't only exist in Jewish culture. It exists in many cultures that breed success, if you would.
Yeah.
Yeah. So do you think that that's kind of that women are the underserved market in biohacking? Sometimes I feel like biohacking started as a very male endeavor, and is now realizing that that most of biohacking is actually, I don't want to say feminine in nature, but is going to serve women as much, if not more, than what is going to serve men, whether it is, sense of community, consciousness, or even, taking care of our wellness.
Biohacking, I do believe, also started with the whole bigger, stronger, faster, better mentality. But women want in on that too. We're also very high performing, and we also want to look and feel our best. And there's so many opportunities to do it within the biohacking space. Like we were talking about earlier, Korea has been doing these things for years. LA is really ahead of the game. Everything that's considered high tech is quite normal there. And the future is biohacking at a cellular level to ultimately have the most energy you possibly can, to be the most efficient, and to get the deepest sleep. And if you can have that, you're biohacking at a level that you wouldn't have been able to when our parents were our age. They didn't have the tools. They didn't have any of the resources. So to be able to take advantage of that and incorporate it into our everyday lives, women are taking advantage of it just as much as men.
Yeah. And I think a lot of thanks to women that were speaking up about the lack of research and the modalities created for men, and for example, there was a boom about fasting, and fasting wasn't really optimized for female hormones, but then multiple people, one of them being Dr. Mindy Pelz, wrote a book, Fast Like a Girl, specifically to help bring fasting to women. And I see those type of protocols and direction from women to women in all of biohacking modalities. So I agree with you that women have the tools now to take advantage of it. So I wanted to ask you something about so a lot of the times, even though modern women they took ownership of so many things, they feel empowered, there's still a lot of shame and stigma going on about aging and how women feel about aging. So since you host those type of retreats, how do you see conversation changing? Is it changing? And like, what do you kind of do about it?
I'm in my 30s and I've never felt or looked better in my life. I really believe aging is so different now. It's like a fine wine. Like as you age, you have so much more wisdom, more depth, you have more certainty. You know what works for your body. It's all just about readjusting and seeing things and perceiving things differently, because you have to remember everyone looks at life through their lens. So when you hear women constantly speaking about, or men constantly speaking about, aging and gray hair and this, all that negativity can suffocate you. Or you can choose to see the good. Every day we can wake up and choose to see the negative or choose to see the good. And regardless, the present moment is here now. So whether you want to or not, you are aging. So why not look at it from a lens of positivity and see what you can gain from it?
I love that. Yeah. And I think I remember when I turned 33, I had a realization that I met my favorite self. Like I just was so in love with myself, and like for the first time. And sometimes I think women can look at another woman from the side and think she has everything going for her, and she's like always had it, because sometimes you just win like a lottery and you have things that not everyone have just from birth. And but there is so much depression among Hollywood stars that you would think they have really everything going for them,
Correct.
So yeah, now that I'm 35, I really relate to your message, because every year moving by, like, get more and more comfortable with yourself, and it's a choice. Like you could either do that, or you could really think like, oh, everything was better when I was younger, and like I felt better, because people are not helping optimize themselves. Like they're not in tune with their bodies.
As we create, we speak, right? And as we speak, we create both ways. So when we're speaking about these things in a negative light, you'll just see more of it, versus you're waking up and you're like, wow, I have another day to be able to create, to be able to learn, to grow. It's just how you perceive it.
That's the word abracadabra. That's what
abracadabra
it
means as you speak, you create.
I didn't know.
Yeah, it's
How do
Hebrew.
you both? Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so powerful, because as you create, as you speak, as you're doing everything, you are molding the world around you.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to say from now on. I'm just going to say abracadabra. And
It's the truth.
So what is here's my problem with our discussion until now. It really is very open-ended. It's very difficult for someone who has no education or no formed habits to kind of rely on and increase. It's very daunting to start this journey.
It is.
How do you meet those? Because I'm assuming you meet those people all the time, or that these are the people that speak with you the most, because they need the most amount of input. So how do you introduce your 360 modality vision into those people? How do you build them up? How does it normally go?
This is why I love the power of social media, because everything I post, it's free, right? That is a free value add. That is my gift. That is my light. 60-second sound bites of how to make your day a little bit better, or how to change your life. That's what I always say. Like, when you're moving through life, what light are you sharing with the rest of the world? We all have gifts. So what are you sharing? And if you can utilize social media, that's incredible because you're able to reach a lot of people.
Yeah.
The other way I do it is via coaching. So I do coaching one-on-one, I do corporate coaching. There's so many ways to get through to women, but for me, social media has always been my favorite because I'm able to give free
Yeah.
light.
Yeah.
It's free. And it allows someone, at least one person, to think a little bit differently. And isn't that the whole point of life? If you can even just get one person to perceive things a little differently, then you've won.
Yeah.
We actually had a discussion about it. So Rode got sold for $1 billion. And a lot of people, some we know, some we don't, have had a really hard time reconciling the fact that they have been, managing a company in the beauty space for 20, 30 years. And they didn't sell their company for $1 billion. And someone wrote, it was Beauty Independent, who, shout out to Beauty Independent, our
great.
friends. Someone wrote an article saying, it's very hard for me to reconcile that. Like I have a 25-year-old company. I'm barely on the X amount of Target shelves or something like that. And I know I'm never going to get to be a $1 billion sold company. And we had a discussion both on air but also off air about it, where I'm saying we're a little bit indoctrinated that the volume of people that we've even touched once is the metrics of success. But really, the company that I want to have, and I know Anastasia wants to have as well, is a company that has depth to the impact that it creates, and then we should measure ourselves in the depth of impact we can create, not by the volume of impact or people that we have lightly touched once, right?
Yeah. I actually just did a talk about this. I was at an event speaking about business, how I raised capital, how I did everything. And during COVID is when I had my son and I was doing my first raise of $1 million. I just gave birth. I almost died giving birth. And everyone kept saying to me, how is it possible? You've never raised capital before. How are you even going to do this? We're in a pandemic. The economy is horrible. But my consciousness was, no, this is what I'm going to do. I have certainty in it because I know I'm supposed to do this. The truth is, there's always going to be people in your space doing better than you financially, physically, whatever it may be. And it brings me back to this book I read to my son. It's about a race car driver that had the worst car, didn't have proper painting. It looked like the not nice one out of all these fancy, sexy race car drivers. And all these cars were 50 times nicer than his. At the end, he ended up putting headphones on and blockers around the car so he couldn't focus on anyone else. And he still won the race. And sure, it's a children's book, but these were the stories we were told growing up. And then as we aged, everyone said, you need to live in reality.
Yeah.
And that is the most horrendous thing you can say to someone when you're saying you should just live in reality, or, oh, they sold for $1 billion and you didn't. What is reality? Because we create our reality. We are the creators of our reality. Everything is a mirror to us. So if you're focused on, oh, they sold for $1 billion, they sold for 600 million, we've been working for 25 years, why haven't we done it? Instead of focusing on the lack, focus on the good, and that's how you're going to attract more in. Will you sell for $1 billion? I don't know, I'm not God. Could you? Maybe. If you didn't, would you still be okay? Do you still feel like you shared what you wanted to? Because at the end of the day, she sold for $1 billion, but there's other areas in her life where she feels poor.
Yeah, I agree. And I think this is...
I'm sure if we were to sit down with her and she were to be honest, there's areas in her life that she feels really poor.
Yeah.
Everyone
like
is...
everyone,
Anthony Robbins, like Tony Robbins, a long, long time ago, said that whatever you have success in life, that's what you ranked first in the things that you care about. So you can't rank everything first. You're always going to have things where they're not functioning the way that you want it to, but really that's because you've directed your energy somewhere else. By the way, it could be you directing your energy towards lack, and then that's the first thing on your proverbial priority, and that's what you have.
You're waking up and you're thinking of lack. She sold for $1 billion. Why didn't we?
Yeah.
She sold for $1 billion. That's amazing. That shows what everyone else can do.
Correct. Yeah.
Exactly.
Talking about lack and the way that you wake up and energy. I remember we tried to instill it in people when we were kind of building the first Young Goose routine, and somehow we never continued. But we used to really want people to have a kind of a consciousness journey. Affirmations around applying skincare in the morning.
I love that.
Is it something how does it look?
That's
like
what I
for
do.
You?
I really believe in finding pockets and moments of peace. Because for me, with my routine in the morning with my son, when I do have him, I have him 50% of the time. My ex-husband has him 50% of the time. So when I have my son, my routine looks different. So I'm tending more to him in the morning, but once I'm done with him, then I go back into mine, or I wake up extra early, whatever the situation may be. But I find 5 to 10 minutes all throughout my day to reground myself, because I may not have an hour in full to take care of myself. I may only have 5 minutes here, 20 minutes here, but I always find those moments. I put my phone down, I stay really present. You just need to find the moments of peace.
Yeah, I love it. It goes back to that practice of getting in and out of hyper focus or Zen moment, however you want to call it. That's the real practice.
That is the real practice.
Yeah.
And what's really cool is the mind and the body don't know the difference from one another. So if you're putting on your skincare and you're saying, I am magnetic, today will be powerful, I see miracles everywhere I go. At first, it sounds silly, it sounds stupid, and you're like, why am I doing this? But then it becomes so routine. It's like a muscle you train to go to the gym. So for me, everything's, what can I kill 2 birds with 1 stone? If I'm doing my skincare, I'm looking in the mirror and I'm looking at myself in the eye and I'm saying these affirmations and I'm saying it until I feel it. And if you don't feel it, just keep saying it. And then the mind and the body don't know the difference. And then you just start to live as if you are her.
Yeah.
I love that, and it is very powerful. And we do still have it as a part of our messaging on Instagram. But I hope I'm so happy that people get to hear it again and from you, from like the OG, of training the consciousness and kind of like training yourself to show up like this. You have
to do it for yourself. And again, if you don't believe it as you're saying it, just keep saying it, because eventually, even if you don't, you're speaking the words, and words are spells. That's why it's called spelling. So as you're spelling all day long, that's what you're creating. And even when you have the negative thoughts, sometimes when I'm moving through my day and I have a negative thought, totally normal. But what's interesting is the more spiritual you become, the actual more of a challenge it becomes, but then it becomes fun. You're like, oh, what was that test? Why did that come in? What's this? Because if you want to evolve, you're constantly be giving tests. And if you want to evolve mentally, spiritually, physically, you have to act like that person, embody that person every single moment. So when you're getting tested, you're getting reactive, pull back, recalibrate, pull back, recalibrate, speak in the mirror, retune. It's just, it's working a muscle.
I love that.
Go ahead.
Well, I was going to bring it a little bit back to the Biohacking Beauty. That's the name of the show.
Yes.
And to talk about, since we know, how much of a biohacker you are, and we talked off camera that, to us, the word biohacking, it's like just the word, that does not carry the same exact meaning as it is sometimes in the media. But you already mentioned that you've seen kind of like you've lived in areas where the wellness is more evolved than it is like for the average listener probably of this podcast. So are there any kind of wellness or skincare trends that you're very excited about that are emerging in the next 5 to 10 years that can like really redefine of how we think about beauty and skincare?
I'll say what I'm doing now, which is really has been a game changer for me. Injecting myself at home with peptides, NAD, Cermorelin, my Glow peptide, which has copper. what's really fascinating is you don't have to go to an office anymore and get the nurse to inject you. You can do this at home. And at first it feels strange, and then it becomes very normal. That has given me incredible amounts of energy, as if I'm 27 again. So that has been a massive game changer for me. Also, shower filters. I saw that you guys worked with Leah, Filter
Yeah.
Baby. I consulted for them. I love Filter Baby. Filters for shower heads. That's biohacking because our water is not clean and our systems are not clean, unfortunately. So nuanced things that you're doing every single day. Tongue scraping is considered biohacking. To me, it's not. It's just normal.
It's the hygiene.
It's just hygiene. Red light therapy is something, again, I like to kill two birds with one stone type of situation. If I'm reading, I'm doing light therapy. Acupuncture mats. When I'm meditating, I lay down on that so it hits my back while I'm also meditating. There's so many things I do throughout the day that are just so normal for me. And if you, as the listener, can get into the mindset of constantly speaking to the universe while you're in the car, driving, doing the acupuncture while you're meditating, putting on your skincare while doing affirmations, everything that's kind of twofold. Physical, mental. And if you're doing that all day, that is biohacking.
Yeah. I love it.
Talk a little bit more about the glow peptide that you talked about. What's in it?
Yes, so it's a cocktail of copper, peptides, and it makes me glow. It just really makes me glow. Injecting myself with peptides, even though NAD is not a peptide, I just group it all together, but injections have completely changed the game for me. And I know some people get freaked out with needles, but wow, if you can get over that, game changer.
Yeah.
How, what is do you believe in like taking breaks, or are you trying to inject yourself as much as possible? Or are you
If I can do it every day, which I do, that's obviously your doctor would always let you know what's appropriate for what's not. But yeah, every single day, single day with my coffee, prayers, I give myself an ample amount of time to slowly get into my routine. And if I'm with my son, it's not as slow. But I always make time for myself, because if I don't really like how I'm moving throughout my day. I just don't like the way I'm moving.
Yeah. I've gone back to injecting myself with NAD recently. Because, I've been taking NAD precursors. We are obviously like the kind of the go-to companies for topical NAD. So, I didn't feel the need for injections for a while, but boy, do these work. It's crazy.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
It works.
Yeah.
For the energy alone, the energy alone, it's worth it.
Yes. Energy alone and energy, here's the thing. The energy that we feel are normally from what are called catecholamines, or from molecules that energize the brain, which is very nice. But most of the energy in our body, we have no idea how it's functioning, unless we're obviously testing our body, going to the gym, etc. But what I love about NAD is that is there are areas that you weren't aware that they're low energy. Some people, it's going to be their glow. For me, for example, it was like a nagging injury that just went away when I started, when I went back to injecting NAD.
Wow.
So we're not even aware of lack of energy a lot of time in our body.
Correct. We
Yeah.
don't even know. It's also, the food that we eat, even if it's quote unquote organic, half the times it isn't.
Yeah.
Right? So anything that you can do to reduce inflammation as well is biohacking.
Yeah.
Anything you can do to reduce inflammation. And injectables do reduce inflammation. And there's certain foods that reduce inflammation. And again, it's just really everything you're doing it intentionally. From physically to mentally, it makes the world of a difference. And it's not about doing this for hours and periods of time. Like, it's about finding those 5 minutes throughout your day.
I love it. I think that's a good segue to like a lightning round, unless you want to ask
I have
something else.
one more question.
Sure, go for it.
Since you're meeting a lot of people who are in different phases of their journey, what is your experience with what are called like skinny shots or GLP-1s? How do you feel it changed a lot, the discussion around health, when people are talking with you? How do you experience that tectonic shift in wellness and in health.
GLP-1 for me, if it's used correctly, I'm not against it because
Yeah.
it does reduce inflammation. But unfortunately, in LA, a lot of women abused it to just lose weight. And you can lose the weight, but at the core, there is no cheap, fast solution.
Yeah.
So if you're using it just to constantly drop weight, but you're still eating whatever you want, or once you get off of it, you're going to be back on your same routine, then it's actually going to do more damage than good because you're just looking for a quick fix. There is no quick fix in life.
Yeah.
There is none. It does not exist. It's accumulation of everything that you're doing. And GLP-1s, it's appropriate if someone really genuinely needs it. But quite often what I'm seeing coming from LA was quite the contrary. There's a time and a place for everything, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And it does work.
Yeah.
And it does reduce inflammation. It does help you drop the weight. But what are you going to do once that Band-Aid's gone? It's like when some of my clients are on antidepressants, I'm like, well, it's just a Band-Aid because the second you get off that antidepressant, you still haven't dealt with the wound.
Yeah.
The wound is there. You're just Band-Aiding it. It's a Band-Aid.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
I got what I
We
wanted.
can't
out
be
of this
using
question.
Band-Aids
Yeah.
anymore. We're in a modern age. We don't need Band-Aids.
Yeah.
There's so many
Yeah.
solutions.
And I do agree with you about inflammation. Like the cool thing about what most people don't know, that most effective anti-aging peptides actually started as an attempt to create a weight loss peptide. Like most of the, whatever like MOTS C or probably gonna think of a few more, but like 5-amino 1-MQ, like a lot of the popular peptides, like the Hollywood peptides now,
Yeah.
started as a way to try to create what a GLP-1 has actually done.
Yeah.
So it's not surprising that we're finding that in microdoses, GLPs are actually really effective as conduits to, a healthier body, whether it's lowering inflammation or other.
I like the concept of microdosing
Yeah.
GLP-1, especially if it helps you stay on track. I love the microdosing of NAD, GLP-1. Injections are incredible. It's changed my life.
Yeah, absolutely. And
Light it, baby.
yeah, sounds good. Okay, so we usually like to close the interview with like lightning round, like a
I love
speedy,
it.
rapid fire questions. Okay, so red light or cold plunge?
I don't like cold plunge for women. Red light.
Okay. Not even at like 50, 60 degrees, you're like, don't.
I think it's too shocking.
Okay.
Okay. If there is a time for only one skincare item, such as like serum, cleanser, moisturizer, which one? Just only one. You don't have time for
SPF.
multiple.
Yeah, I knew
Okay.
she was gonna
Always
say that.
SPF.
I love it. And I know I'm supposed to keep going with the rapid fire questions, but I just want to take a moment and say thank you. Thank you
always
for
SPF.
sharing that, because unfortunately in our very own biohacking community, there's just so much misinformation, and I'm
Correct.
scared. I'm scared for all of men and women that right now are in a camp of like, I'm just going to build
toxic,
a tolerance
it's
to
toxic,
sun.
no.
Yeah, and I'm just not going to put SPF on my body, and they go to various lengths, to try and
The
prove
ozone
that.
is not the same as it was
Yeah.
even 30 years ago.
It's
Not the same.
It's much more than that. It's like we're not designed to live forever. If we want to have anything look good forever, you're going to have to do things that are not completely. I don't want to say not completely natural, but that are not hardwired into your body directly. You're going to have to kind of
Agreed.
upgrade it, if you would.
It's like maintaining a home. Would you keep a home the same way for 50 years? No, you have to repair things.
Yes, exactly.
And you have to protect it.
Yeah. Okay. So you mentioned that you don't like the word anti-aging. So the question that we had was aging gracefully or aging disruptively?
Both. Why not?
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah, I
Why
love
not?
that. Okay. So since you mentioned you have like a regimen of peptides and NAD, if you had to identify a favorite one for your skin, would it be like collagen, NAD, or spermidine?
For the injectables,
Or oral?
Your favorite molecule for skin
longevity,
appearance?
yeah, and appearance.
I hate that question.
Yeah.
Peptides.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay. Cool.
okay.
It's such a hard one.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. One biohack that you think is overrated. I mean, you could say cold plunge again, but
I do think it's cold plunge.
Yeah?
I've done cold plunge. I would do it again, but for me, I think it's so shocking and so disruptive. And I think women are meant to stay more stable and not shock their systems. We already have enough things shocking our
Yeah.
systems.
well, to your point, I think I just had a podcast with Eli, which is a saliva cortisol test.
Okay.
That you can test your cortisol like 2-3 times a day.
Wow.
Really cool. And I think this is the missing link for pushing the envelope within the context of women's biohacking, because a lot of the time, not only that it is individual, you don't know how it affects you in different times of your menstrual cycle.
That part.
You don't know how it affects you if you're doing hormone replacement therapy, because now you're different than how it affected you before you did that.
Correct.
There are so
And
many.
I still think water therapy is very healing. Water is so healing on so many different levels. But cold plunges, it's so shocking.
Yeah, I agree. I think you would need to be a person that measures very well for you to understand if it's good for you and how is it good for you, especially especially for women. Yeah.
That's why testing's really important. People kind of just go into things or eat a certain way without realizing that they should test their blood and see what's appropriate. What's good for me is not good for you. What's good for you might
Yeah.
not be good for her. You
Yeah.
need to know what your body is made of. And things like Pronovo, the scans from Pronovo,
Yeah.
those are life-changing. You know what's going on internally.
Yeah.
You need to know what's going on.
And I also think, like, to add a discussion about cold plunging, I think it could be appropriate for people that are really in tune with their bodies, and they can really assess. Because so for me personally, when I tried, I didn't want to do cold plunging. Actually, I mean, I really insisted that I
That you
try
try
and
it,
try.
yeah.
And we were with friends who got a really cool cold plunge, and they really needed support to do it regularly because they've already invested and they bought like the most expensive one. They dropped like 20 or 30K on their cold plunge.
Yeah.
So we were like, okay, let's do it. And I have seen them, Ty and the couple that we're friends with, just suffering. Like, every time we come to their home, and which at the time was like 3 times a week, and they're like suffering for, even though it's just a couple of minutes, they're like, and I'm like, I don't want to do that.
I don't want to suffer.
I don't want to do it for myself. So I was like staying away from it for as long as I could. And then, I give in to peer pressure. And then for me, which I did not know was going to happen, the fact that like I was born more north of the Arctic Circle, so I think I just like have something in my DNA to withstand cold. So I was able to master it like really fast, really well.
We were screaming at her to get out.
And she was just relaxed.
Like
and she
after
was
like
fine.
5-6 minutes in, she's like,
She's like, I'm
I
fine.
can go. I was like,
Yeah.
get out.
And I did not expect it from me at all. But what also was like a long time goal of mine is to master breathing techniques, but I wasn't disciplined enough to do it on my own. We went to a couple of like different breathing workshops, and I've done it, but I've never been consistent. But here for the cold plunge, because I was so scared of how I'm going to deal with it, I actually was doing the Wim Hof breathing method and like the box breathing and some other techniques. And so for me, it was just cool to see that I can handle it, and I have that ability to talk to my body, to like convince myself, that I'm fine, and like master that physiology. And I really give a lot of credit to this practice for then being able to give natural birth. It's just because it prepared me.
I love that. That makes sense because you could withstand the pain from that. So natural birth for you, you're like, I'm fine. I put my body through something that was rather extreme so I can handle it.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't go back to it since giving birth. Our son, it's going to be 2 years. I keep like waiting for a sign that I want to do it again. So it's not like I'm back to it, but like I'm grateful for what it taught me and what it gave me. And I do have some friends, very few female friends, that are like, oh, I wish you had a cold plunge again, because at some point we did have it at our home.
Yeah, it broke.
And they're like, I miss the clarity that I was able to get when I was doing it, I don't miss any of that. I don't feel like it gave me so much clarity or any other benefit except knowing that I can master my state.
Beautiful.
So I think it's like,
And it
it's
gave
about-
you that. Yeah, for me, it definitely gave me breathing techniques for sure. Like the way we tell our kids, right? Like breathe in through your nose,
Yeah.
out through your mouth. How many times do we remind ourselves to do that?
Yeah.
So cold plunging does allow you to take you back to that breath work because you're in agony. So you need to use your breath to stay calm.
Yeah.
That's a very powerful part of it. But other than that, I don't like what it does to my body. I think it's very shocking and very jarring for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's definitely overhyped.
I think so too.
And now we need to find what is it really good for? Who is it really good for? Instead of
Everyone
it's
should
really
do
cool.
it.
To be
Yeah.
honest, it's really cool. Like to know you're a person that can just get into, below freezing water, kind of obviously whenever you want, and just withstand it. It's a cool thing. It's a good badge of honor. But the question is now, how do we use it as a tool and not as not as a badge of honor?
Agreed.
Or like
Agreed.
Yeah.
An Instagram moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And speak from the cold tub like some people.
Oh,
Anyway.
so many people. That's so mainstream these days. That's actually one of the biohacking modalities that made it. And it's so mainstream right now.
Yeah, that's, I can go on
That was
and
great.
on, but I feel
Yeah.
like,
I loved it.
I mean, honestly, thank you so much for making the time.
Thank you,
for
both.
driving to us.
We love
In the
biohacking,
rain.
children,
Yeah.
life, motherhood, everything.
breathing, we love
Breathing.
breathing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, Liz, thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank
We
you
appreciate
both.
you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you for coming.
Bye.